of Forex payment providers, we're talking about the companies that handle these massive international currency deals, there's this huge disconnect. You've got companies building absolutely amazing, powerful tech, but the Forex brokers, they're just not buying it. So today, we're going to dig into why that is and what it really takes to win in this space. And this next statement, man, it just goes against everything we're taught to believe in the tech world. Our source material really just lays it out there super bluntly. In the high-stakes game of Forex payments, simply having good tech doesn't mean you're going to win. So if it's not about the tech, then what is it? Well, it all comes down to one single powerful concept: perception. Yep, that's it. How your company is seen, that's the real battleground. This is the fundamental rule we're unpacking today. In Forex, perception absolutely crushes technology. It's the real key to landing those crucial integrations. Okay, so how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's talk about what we're calling the SaaS marketing trap. And it's a trap because the marketing playbook that works for pretty much every other software company out there, it completely utterly falls flat in Forex. So here's what most of these payment providers do. Their whole pitch is about features. They talk about how fast their transactions are, and of course they always promise lower fees. I mean, on the surface, that sounds totally logical, right? But here's the question that just changes the entire game. Does any of that stuff, the features, the speed, the low fees, does any of it actually build the deep foundational trust a Forex broker needs before they'll even think about working with you? And the answer is a hard no. Great tech does not automatically equal trust. You could have the slickest dashboard, the most advanced API in the world, but it means absolutely nothing if a broker looks at you and doesn't see a trustworthy partner. See, from a broker's perspective, the math is way simpler and honestly a lot more brutal. If they've never heard of you, if you're an unknown payment service provider, then you are by default a huge risk. That's it. End of story. And that leads to the only logical conclusion, right? No visibility in the market means no integrations. You can look fantastic on paper, but if you're a ghost in the industry, those deals are dead on arrival. All right, let's really try to get inside the head of the person making these calls. This section is all about why brokers say no. And the key thing to remember here is it has very little to do with your product and everything to do with their risk. And just look at this comparison. The difference in how they think is just stark. A regular SaaS buyer, they're looking at features, trying to find the best tool for the job. But a Forex broker, they're comparing risk to find the safest option. They're not trying to be innovative, they're trying to be secure. Which brings us to what is without a doubt the most valuable asset in this entire ecosystem. Let's call it the currency of trust. Because this right here is what actually gets deals signed. It's not a long list of product features, that's for sure. And this table just lays it all out, crystal clear. Look at what a broker actually values. At the very, very top, risk mitigation. Right under that, trust and reputation. And then look way, way down at the bottom. That's where you find features and pricing. It's a complete reversal of the typical sales pitch. So let's just hammer this point home one more time because it's the most important takeaway. In the Forex industry, it is perception, how you are known, what people say about you, whether you are seen as a safe bet that drives every single decision, not your product. Okay, so if a lack of perception is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, that brings us to our next part. How public relations, or PR, builds that perception. This is the strategic tool that solves that critical visibility gap. Now, when we say PR, what are we really talking about here? It's the whole strategic process of shaping how your company is perceived. And there's a really important distinction here. PR doesn't improve your product. It improves the market's trust in your product. And there's a really clear, logical path to how this works. It all starts with visibility, which you get through media outreach and PR. That visibility then builds your authority in the space. That authority, over time, solidifies into trust. And that trust, that's what finally gets you to the finish line, the integration. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, think about it. Press releases get your company's name into the trusted media outlets that brokers are already reading every day. When they see your name pop up in those places, it builds these powerful signals of authority. And when you do that consistently, that visibility just compounds and compounds over time, until, eventually, you're not an unknown anymore. You're a known, trusted entity. Which brings us to our conclusion. And really, the fundamental choice that every single payment provider in this space has to make. Are you going to stay invisible, or are you going to become indispensable? And this single quote from our source material sums up this entire explainer perfectly. The number one reason most payment providers fail isn't because their tech is bad. It's because, to put it simply, no one trusts them enough to take the risk. And look, that trust doesn't just magically appear out of thin air. It has to start somewhere. And that starting point, it's visibility. Because you just cannot be trusted if nobody even knows who you are. So we'll leave you with one last question to really think about. Is your product brilliant? Is your tech superior? Is your pricing competitive? Maybe. But is your perception in the market completely and utterly invisible? Because if it is, you're not a product competition, you're in a perception war that you haven't even started fighting yet.